Let's talk now to Umbilo Community Policing Forum chairperson Calvin Thomas. A very good evening to you, Mr. Thomas. Grateful to have your time. So you're not based at the Glebelands Hostel, but I wonder how much of the violence that the hostel has now become so notorious for often spills over into communities such as yours.
Good evening to you and to all the viewers out there. Firstly, condolences to the family of the victims and the friends and relatives. I think we were equally shocked that the Glebelands Hostel featured in the news again for another murder and a mass shooting that had occurred there. Fortunately, the issues in Glebelands are largely concentrated in the uMlazi area and hasn't spilled over into our area. I think as a community we are cognizant of the issues of crime, and it can actually move from area to area, but at this point in time, the shooting remains isolated in the Glebelands area. And
are people around you, given the distance, spooked at all at this incident?
Not so much so, because I mean Glebelands has been in the news quite often, and with the crime that's all over the country, I think unfortunately it's become a daily occurrence where we hear of murders taking place. I think people have become sort of used to hearing this in the news. I mean, they are shocked that so many people died in one incident, but I think any loss of life in the country is a sad reflection of society.
But KZN has a broader gun violence problem, does it not? Because even in the latest crime stats, for example, it is the #1 province in terms of people who are being murdered. This year alone, I'm sure you've read the reports, we've covered them, mass shootings, up to 5, 6, 7 people killed at a go. In some incidents, all the people who have been attacked have been members of the same family. Do you regard the province at the moment as a safe place to live?
Well, I live in the province, and I'll still continue to live in this province. I think it's safe. I think we've had sporadic incidences of crime where guns and firearms were used in the commission of those crimes. But look, KZN is not immune.
Calvin Thomas, are you still with us? Okay.
In other countries close.
Okay, we've got you back. You were saying, please finish your point, sir.
Sorry. I was saying KZN is not immune to gun violence, as in other provinces and even across the world. It does happen where there's mass shootings, and it's largely related to the use of firearms in that process. I also said I live in KZN, and for me, there's no other place like home. I'm not too fazed or scared of living and walking in our streets.
And I take that and I appreciate that. What could be done, I wonder, do you think, in order to make people like yourself who've lived in KZN their whole lives and want to stay feel even safer under the current circumstances, even if these have been sporadic incidents? Over 1,500 people were murdered in that province in the first 3 months of the year.
So I think community participation together with policing, and that relationship must be strengthened, because the reality is, if you look at this Glebelands incident, the community in and around that area actually will know or may know who the shooters are and the reasons for the shooting. But they may be also scared or may not know who to contact to actually share that information with the police services. The reality is police cannot be everywhere all the time. So the community needs to step up, become more involved in policing their own areas as well. And collectively, we can actually make KZN and South Africa a safe place.
Good to speak to you. Calvin Thomas from the Umbilo Community Policing Forum, chairperson of that policing forum, in fact.